everybody, watch us turn this into this. We have a rack of baby back ribs here that we are going to fix in our oven today. Ideally, if the weather permitted, we'd use our smokers and our grills, but unfortunately, our weather right now is a little bit chilly for that, so I would say this is the next best thing. I love barbecued ribs, to be honest with you, and I have done a lot of research and a lot of trial and error and to put a little bit of this and that together to come up with this. This is, like I said, this is a rack of baby back ribs, and they do come with a membrane on them that you'd like. It's better to remove. Some people will say you don't have to, but your rub and everything will penetrate a lot better if you do remove it. It can be a little difficult. Sometimes they come off really easy. Sometimes it takes a little work. There's a couple of different methods here that you can use. I'm going to start down here. We're trying to slit this open. Now, if that doesn't work, there's another method I can use. But if all else fails, you can just slice this and let your rib penetrate that way. So it's easy if you have a piece of paper towel to pull this off with. And this is probably, quite honestly, the part that I struggle with the most is to get this off. When I do run into that situation, I just have to kind of slow down and take my time with this, and I will sometimes try a couple different methods until I get this off. But it is worth it to me in the long run to get this removed. So also, since I'm struggling here with this method, you can also take a butter knife and you can get up underneath right here in the center and you can start to pry, which I think this is probably going to save us some work today to go in this method here. It's going to come off a lot easier and remove a lot easier. It's a little time consuming, a little more work to get this off, but quite honestly, I think it's worth it. I'm going to grab this piece of paper towel and I'm just going to keep coming along this way here until I get it all the way loosened. And then after this, I should be able to pretty much easily just give this a quick tear, and I can use my paper towel and I can just keep pulling this down until voila, it's gone. So now I'm just going to take another little piece of paper towel and pat this dry a little bit. And this was a helpful hint that I found while I was researching ribs to give us a little bit more. I'm just trimming this up a little bit, guys. You don't have to, but it's just something I'm kind of doing. I did find a very good helpful hint, I have to say, while I was researching how to do these. And they said to apply a little bit of liquid smoke. I tried it, and honestly, I really was a big fan of it. So I'm going to show you how, kind of what I watched. There wasn't any complete exact measurements. So I have 2 teaspoons of liquid smoke that I'm going to apply about a teaspoon of this on each side. If this is something you don't like, you know, by all means, you don't have to use it. I'm just going to start to dribble across here a little bit like this. Just slowly even it out, evenly. And it might look like a lot, but quite honestly, it's, to me, I like that smoky flavor though. But it is something that you don't even have to use if you don't want to. But I promise you, if you try it, you'll love it. So I just kind of get the bones along here a little bit. And now I have 2 teaspoons of kosher salt. I'm going to take 1 teaspoon and I'm going to just apply this on this side of the ribs. I like kosher salt to use on the ribs a little bit better than I do actual table salt. It's nice and flaky and seems to just melt right into the meat. And I'm just going to kind of press this in with my fingers a little bit, just so it gets nice and penetrated there into the side of the meat. Now I'm going to flip this over onto our meatier side here. This looks pretty good. I don't see anything that requires a lot of trimming. And I'm going to go ahead again with this other teaspoon of the liquid smoke and just dribble it along just a little bit along here. And liquid smoke is very potent and powerful. So I would rather err on the side of less. But I've used this several times now, and I've got it down to where it's pretty much right at 2 teaspoons. So there we go. We got that on. I'm going to massage this little guy a little bit. Get that worked in nicely on the sides, all over. And then I'm going to do the same with the rest of my kosher salt. So it's 2 teaspoons of liquid smoke and 2 teaspoons of the kosher salt. I got just a little bit left here, but I do want to use all of this because, you know, I've experimented with, I started maybe with a teaspoon of kosher salt, and then I kind of jumped up to a teaspoon and a half, and this seems to be the magic number for me. And by all means, you know, it's something that you can, all this is adjustable on your own taste, so that makes it really nice. But this is the way we like it. I don't want to waste any of this. So I'm going to just rub all this in. Now, if you were to want to prepare this, some of this the night before can be done, like this liquid smoke and this salt. This could be done, and you could put it in your tin foil, wrap it up tightly, and be ready for your rub the next morning. If it's something that you're in a hurry or you have like a lot of company coming, this could easily be done like that. So anyway, sometimes I do that, and it just seems to soak in even better. Now, I have my homemade rub here, and I'll list all these ingredients down below. It's brown sugar, smoked paprika, it's onion powder, garlic powder, just basically your seasonings, and you can use your own or you can buy the store-bought one. I just make my own, so it's really up to you. So I'm gonna start on this side here. Now, some people will use mustard to make their rub clean. I like to use a little bit of olive oil. You could, by all means, you could even melt some butter. It's all up to you, or the mustard, whichever you prefer. But I'm just using some olive oil to rub this in. So my rib seasoning, my rub is gonna stick really good to this. And I wanna get the sides of the bones and get it pretty much nicely coated here. And then I'm gonna just start coating this with my rib rub. And like I said, we will link all the ingredients to this down below, and feel free to try it. And it's all adjustable, so that's the nice thing about this. You can, you know, to your own taste. So I'm covering him quite liberally with my rub. I want to get the ends all sealed in and get it rubbed in really good. And then I'm going to flip him over to the other side, and I'm going to do the same. I'm going to come along the rib here because I really like to kind of seal this in really good. It's a little messy of a job, but it's well worth it. And you know, you could take this same thing and get it right to this point and put it in your smoker or on your grill, however you prefer. That's the nice thing about this. It gives you a good flavor inside, you know, in your own oven, but it's also ready for a smoker too. Now, I would not ever recommend putting a dry rub on and leaving it set overnight, only because I think that it would overpower the meat. So once I get to this part here where I have the dry rub on, I do like to get it going in my oven as quickly as possible. So I think that looks like enough rub to me. And I'm going to rinse my hands here, and we'll move on to the next step. So I've got a cookie sheet here that I've lined with aluminum foil, but also I want to wrap these ribs up really tight. Now, I do take just a little bit of spray, and I do just spray, and this is optional, but I will spray my pan a little bit just in case I have some of the liquid come out onto my pan there. I don't have to worry about it smoking. So I've got another large piece of foil here, a pretty good sized piece, and I'm going to put it here. And I like to take my ribs when I put them in the oven with the rib side up. So these are going down with the rib side up like this, and I'm going to wrap it pretty tight and close it in. That's what I like to use this other piece of the aluminum foil for, because it will help to catch some drips. I think that's wrapped pretty securely, and you could, if you wanted, maybe put another little strip over this, but I think that I have it pretty nice and secure, but I will just do this to be on the safe side. Now, this is going to go into my preheated oven that I have set at 300 degrees. This here usually takes about 2.5 hours, and then they come out and we'll be ready for step 2. Now we're moving on to our homemade barbecue sauce. I'm making a double batch of this today, only because we just go through so much of it. I have kind of a deep saute pan non-stick that I'm using today. So this is kind of a sweet and zesty barbecue sauce. And I'm gonna start with about 4 tablespoons of olive oil. And to that, I'm gonna add 1.5 teaspoons of garlic paste. Now, I find this in my food section, in the produce section, and I'm just gonna kind of mix those two together. I'll share a little bit about myself with you right now as I mix these together. I live in the Midwest. I'm a mother, grandmother, and I have a passion, and I always have my whole life, for cooking and baking and organizing and just making my home a very nice home for my family. And it's just something I've always had a passion with, and I just want to share this passion with you guys, and I hope that I can share many more with you. So here I do have that garlic paste, which is in with the olive oil. Into that, I'm going to add, I have 2 cups of ketchup here, but this is a double batch, and so you can easily cut this in half. I make so much of it because we use this so many times during the week, and I figure if I'm gonna make, one batch of it, I just may as well double this up. So you can easily cut any of these ingredients in half. And next I have I'm gonna add my brown sugar next. I have 1.5 cups of light brown sugar I'm gonna add in here, and let that kind of start doing its thing and melting around. And as that happens, and I'm going to add to, I'm going to add to this hot honey. Now this is a kicked up honey. I love it. It doesn't really add any spice at all, or any heat, I should say, but to me, I love it. But regular honey would work too. I'm just using our kicked up version of it, and to me it's kind of almost addicting. There's a lot of foods I like to use just this honey on, fried chicken as a dip. So next I have a 3/4 cup of molasses I'm going to add in here, which is going to really give this a nice rich brown color and a really distinct flavor, I think. It kind of adds to the texture of this so nicely that it seems to really make the glaze or the sauce really cling to the ribs or the chicken. Anything, you could use this in anything, pulled pork, barbecue chicken. It's really endless, and we like to just dip chicken strips in it too. So it's good for a lot of different things. Now I have a couple tablespoons of liquid smoke. I'm sorry, 2 teaspoons of liquid smoke I'm going to add in here. And then I have 4 teaspoons of a smoked paprika, and I added 1 teaspoon of salt to this, just regular table salt. So it's 1 teaspoon of salt, 4 teaspoons of smoked paprika. I'm going to add that in. Again, these are all adjustable ingredients. You can use your own barbecue sauce, or you can buy the store. It's whichever you prefer. I like to just make my own, and then if I make like a double batch, I just put it away and we'll use it during the week for, the kids love chicken strips. Grandkids seem to be hooked on chicken strips. So they'll dip this or use this as a dip for their chicken strips, and it's good for the barbecue chicken or anything that you really want to, anything that you would want to use it on. It's going to work. I don't like to leave this on the burner very long. I'll let it come to like a slight simmer, and then I'm going to shut it off. And you can always taste it if you feel like you need to add a little more salt to it. I like it kind of on the sweet side. So this is where I'm at with it. But I have everything pretty much dissolved in here. And so I'm just gonna clear off the counter and let this come to a little bit of a simmer and make room for our next step. So I've let this simmer just a few minutes, and you can see the dark, rich color in it. And a lot of that comes from the smoked paprika and the molasses, and it's just a beautiful sauce. But it has simmered now for a little bit, and I'm gonna shut this off so it can just all kind of come together and thicken up just a little bit. And we'll show you what we do with it next. Hi everybody, we're back. So probably in my search for a really good barbecued rib that you can put in the oven, I ran across a guy that used, actually kind of made like a glaze, and it just stuck perfectly to these ribs. I mean, I think it really made it. And it's just wonderful. And I'm going to show you how he did this. He started with some brown sugar, and I have a half a cup brown sugar here, light brown sugar, that I'm just gonna put down here. Probably about 50-50 of it, I would say, spread out, like so. This to me just made these ribs delicious. I don't know, it really did something to them. And then I'm gonna put down, I have a 3/4 stick of butter here that I've just kind of cut up in little chunks so I can spread it evenly. And I'm gonna put that down here and just evenly like this. To me, this just does something to the ribs that is just makes it absolutely delicious. So now that I have that done, I'm gonna come in with, I have a half a cup of honey. Again, this is a little bit of the hot mixed with regular honey, and you could even use maple syrup. That would be good, but I have a half a cup. So I'm gonna go ahead and drizzle about a half a cup of honey over this. And the butter will really prevent this from sticking, so that's not really an issue. Now, I have pineapple juice unsweetened, and this is a 6-ounce can of pineapple juice. I may not need even to use all of that, but I'm gonna start with just putting some down here, maybe 3-4 ounces. It might not even take that, but I guess it would be to your preference. You can use apple juice, you could even use beer, but I'm gonna start right there because you know how well pineapple goes with pork. Everybody loves that. So now I've had these ribs out of the oven, and I did let them cool down just a little bit because they're very hot to handle. So I did take them out just to let them get to where I can handle them. And I'm going to put them, the meat side down like this, back onto the foil, and repeat that process with the last of the butter. It's gonna go down here. And this is something, if you think it's a little too much butter, you don't have to use all of it, but I think it really helps with that glaze. I have the oven set at 325 now. I increased it from 300 to 325. And I'm gonna go back in with the balance that I had left over from the half cup of the brown sugar and sprinkle this on. And then I'm gonna use the balance of this half cup of honey I had, and I'll get my spatula here because I don't wanna waste any of this. And I'm gonna drizzle this over that, just to caramelize this. I'm telling you, this is like delicious. I almost could, if it wasn't for dieting, I think I could almost eat these ribs every day, and we do have them quite often. So I don't know, but I'm gonna, if he actually, this guy, I was kind of watching some of his methods, I'm gonna add just a little dash, not much, of my pineapple juice here, just to make this kind of dissolve right into those ribs. Now, this is a sweet and zesty, and I like that, and if it's too much for your taste, it's something that you can always leave out too. Now I'm gonna take and wrap this up a little bit, and then I'm going to get a little more tin foil for this so I don't lose any of this. And I'm gonna tighten this down as much as possible. And hopefully I don't lose a lot of this onto my pan. I probably could have used another sheet. And actually I have been doing several racks of ribs today. They're delicious warmed up even in an air fryer. They make a nice snack. You can eat them with a salad, potato salad, the coleslaw, anything. It's just delicious with just about anything. So I am going to take another strip of aluminum foil just to be on the safe side. And I'm going to cover these just a little bit more so we can keep in all the good stuff. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just like to keep it where I don't lose a lot of the glaze as this melts. I'm going to put this back in the oven for about an hour at 325 and just let it take care of itself, and we'll be back. Hi guys, we're back, and I did take the ribs out of the oven, and I did let them cool down here just a little bit because they are very, very hot. And now, hopefully, I'm going to be able to transfer these without much issue over to a clean cookie sheet that I have here. Now I'm gonna put a little sauce on these, and then I'm gonna flip them over and show you. So I'm gonna take a little bit of my barbecue sauce that I made up earlier, and I'm gonna lightly baste the back side of these, the bone up side, and get them nicely coated. And this sauce just really sticks so nicely. And you can add as much as you like or as less. I mean, some people like a lot of sauce like me, and some people want a little bit less. So now, I'm gonna try to flip these over in one piece, I hope, and see if we can get this other side done. They've cooled down a little bit, so they're not quite as difficult to handle. I can probably get my spatula underneath here and flip this over. These are like literally fall off the bone though. I probably could have maybe baked these a half an hour less than what I did. And now I'm gonna go ahead and coat these, but you can see how that the brown sugar and the honey all mixed together just give this a very nice shiny glaze on top of it. And it just makes this, your sauce, any sauce that you use will just cling to it very nicely. I'm going to add some extra only because we really love the barbecue sauce around here. So I'm going to go a little heavy. I made a double batch of this, so we will still have plenty to go. And I'm going to cover it really good with the sauce here. As you can see how nice it clings to this. And maybe you can, Junior, can you zoom in just a little bit and let them see a view from the top? How nicely this glaze is setting. Now I'm going to pop these back in the oven for probably about 10 more minutes just to set the glaze on here. These were very tender ribs. I probably could have maybe have taken them out a half an hour sooner than I did, but that's okay. Once they firm up, they'll be very easy to cut and just as good. Okay guys, back into the oven, 325, about 10 minutes, and we'll pull the final product. Oh, we're back guys with our finished product, and these look delicious. We have a picture of them right here. Junior, can you zoom in with our camera so people can see the finished product that we have? You can see how nicely the barbecue sauce has clung to them, and they look very nice. I'm gonna shut my oven door up here right quick and move these over to a cutting board. So this is probably very tender. I may have been able to have even taken these out a little bit sooner than what I did. And I am going to try to cut a few of these here and show you kind of how we like to serve them here. And normally I would let these set for 10-15 minutes just to firm up a little bit, but since I want to show you what they'll look like, I'm going to go ahead and cut them now while they're still quite hot. So we'll be right back. So we did start to cut these a little bit, but they are very hot, and I'd rather let them firm up just a little bit before I continue to cut them, but we did cut off just a little bit on the side here so we can show you how nicely the glaze sticks to the ribs, and what they look like, and as they cool and they firm up, they'll cut a lot nicer for us. And I've got my little taste tester here that's gonna come over here and taste these and let me know what he thinks of them. Junior, come on over. Okay, Junior, I'll give you, you know, there's no clean way to eat ribs, so go ahead and dig into that, Junior.
All right.
And it might be a little warm. I'll get you a napkin. This is your pay for your helping me with this video today. And how are
really
they?
good.
Good. I'm glad you like them.
Very tender, very good.
And these are, you know, ribs are kind of the cooking is kind of a little bit hard to judge, and I like them to fall off the bone. But if you don't like them quite that tender, you can take them out sooner where they still have some pull and some chew to them as they're on the bone. But tomorrow, or as these firm up, they're gonna be just about right for me and for us around here. But I hope that you've enjoyed this, and we hope to have you follow us for more videos to come. And thank you for your love and support, and we'll see you again soon.